All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever gotten that gut punch feeling when a collection account suddenly appears on your credit report, you know just how stressful it is. So, in this explainer, we're going to walk through exactly how you can fight back. And let's just start with the number one question everybody asks. Can you actually get a collection removed without paying a cent? Well, you might be surprised to hear that the answer is often yes, but it's not always simple. So let's get into how it works. And look, if you're feeling stressed about this, you have every right to be. A collection account isn't just some small thing. As you can see, experts pretty much agree it is one of the single most damaging marks you can have on your credit report. So yeah, taking this seriously is absolutely the right move. So why is it such a heavy burden? What's the big deal? Well, because it's not just about some number on a screen. A collection account creates real-world problems that can, kind of follow you around for years. I mean, the impact is huge, and it's way more than just your credit score. We're talking about things like trying to get a car loan or a mortgage. Good luck with a collection on your report. Or think about renting an apartment. The first thing that landlord does is pull your credit. It can even affect your chances of getting certain jobs. And of course, the big one, it can absolutely tank your credit score, sometimes dropping it by over 100 points. But here's the good news, and this is important. You are not powerless here. Not at all. You actually have legal rights on your side, and once you understand them, it's kind of like having a superpower. So let's talk about your secret weapon. And this is it, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or you'll hear it called the FCRA. This is the federal law that basically puts you in the driver's seat. Here's the key takeaway from it. The law gives you the right to a credit report that is 100% accurate. That's the whole foundation for everything we're about to do. Now, this is where the fight takes place. Your financial life is reported to these three companies: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And because of that FCRA law we just mentioned, they have a legal duty to make sure that the information they're reporting about you is accurate. And that brings us to what I like to call the main quest, the dispute process. If you find an error on your report, and a lot of people do, you have a legally protected way to get it removed for good. Listen to this because it's so important. You have the right to dispute anything on your report that you believe is wrong. That means it's inaccurate, it's too old to be on there, or, and this is a big one, it's something the collection agency simply can't prove. Oh, and by the way, it costs you absolutely nothing to do this. It is your right. So what kind of mistakes are we talking about? Honestly, it could be anything. An incorrect balance, the wrong opening date, a debt that belongs to someone else with a similar name, or an old debt that should have fallen off your report years ago. Even a simple typo, a misspelled name, a wrong account number, is enough to file a dispute. The law says if they can't verify every single detail, the whole thing has to go. So, the official process is kind of like a two-pronged attack. First, you send a letter to the credit bureau that's reporting the error, so that's your Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion. Second, you also send a letter to the company that gave them that bad info in the first place, which is usually the collection agency. You want to hit both of them to cover all your bases. And please, don't get intimidated by the idea of writing some formal, fancy letter. It doesn't have to be like that at all. As you can see here, it can be super simple and straight to the point. You just need to say who you are, what account you're talking about, explain why it's a mistake, and then tell them to remove it. That's it. Now, as soon as the credit bureau gets your dispute letter, a clock starts ticking. The law says they have, in most cases, 30 days to investigate your claim. And if the collection agency can't prove that the debt is accurate and verifiable within that time, the bureau must, I repeat, must delete it from your report. Okay, but what about the really tricky situation? What if the collection on your report is actually accurate? You know you owe the money. Now what? Well, let's try to navigate this maze. First thing you need to know is that time can be on your side. Most negative items, and that includes collections, have a time limit. They legally have to be removed from your credit report after 7 years. Now, that 7-year clock starts from the date the account first became delinquent, not the date the collector bought it. After 7 years, poof, it has to be gone. So, does it even make sense to pay a collection if it's accurate? Yeah, it actually can. See, while paying it doesn't automatically delete it from your report, the newest scoring models, like FICO 9, are designed to ignore paid collections completely. Lenders also see a paid collection as way less of a risk than an unpaid one. And here's the most important reason. Paying it off means they can't sue you or try to garnish your wages. All right, these two terms sound almost identical, and it's super easy to get them mixed up. But they're two very different, very powerful tools for you. Debt validation is when you demand proof from the debt collector. You're telling them, prove you have the legal right to collect this. Debt verification is what the credit bureau does. They have to check if the item is accurate. So think of it this way. Validation is for the collector, verification is for the bureau.
You can also try to negotiate. A pay for delete is exactly what it sounds like. You offer to pay them, maybe in full, maybe a little less, in exchange for them completely deleting the account from your credit report. Now, this isn't guaranteed, and if you do this, you absolutely must get the agreement in writing before you send them any money. The other option is a debt settlement, where you negotiate to pay less than you owe. The account will then be marked as settled, which is better than unpaid, but not as good as being deleted entirely.
Okay, so as you start this journey to clean up your credit, you are going to be bombarded with ads from companies promising a quick, easy fix. We need to talk about how to avoid these traps.
If you see an ad that says something like this, run. Just turn and run. The Federal Trade Commission has said flat out that they have never seen a legitimate credit repair company make these kinds of promises. Nobody can legally remove negative information from your report if it's accurate and timely. It's just not possible.
And guess what? There's another law that protects you here. It's called the Credit Repair Organizations Act, or CROA. The most important part of this law for you to remember is that these companies cannot charge you a single penny before they've actually done the work. They can't lie about what they can do, they have to give you a written contract, and you get 3 days to cancel for free. So know your rights.
Phew, we have covered a ton of ground here, from finding errors to disputing them to negotiating debts that are actually yours. So, what's the big takeaway? What's your path forward? It really all boils down to this. This isn't some magic wand you can wave. Fixing your credit takes some work, some patience, and yeah, a little bit of diligence. But by understanding the laws that are on your side, you are the one in control. You have all the tools you need to make sure your credit report is fair and accurate. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. You now know you have the right to get your credit reports for free, you have the right to dispute any errors you find, and you have the right to demand that collectors prove you owe them money. So now that you know your rights, what's your first step going to be?